Hey there guys and guyeses, welcome back to my channel TheTarative. Thank you for stopping by. So this is a different type of video that I'll be doing. It is a review video slash like a try on haul, and it's just for a single piece of jewellery, and that is for my septum piercing. So up until recently I've only really worn this style of jewellery in it just because after I stretch my piercing I prefer wearing a ball closure ring, but I keep the ball off. One of the reasons why I keep the ball off is so that I can keep it flipped up my nose if I need to hide it for whatever reason, and also the other reason is I can't actually get the ball back on. It took me ages trying to get the ball off, and you just need so much upper arm strength and I just don't have it. A ring with this thickness and quite a small diameter, it's just near impossible to actually get the ball back in place. So ideally I would like a smooth segment ring. Now a smooth segment ring, rather than having the ball that closes it, it has a segment of the ring, so like a little arc that then fits in. The only thing is they've got little notches on and they're 10 times harder to get back in than the ball closure rings. So this is a different style of jewellery. It is aimed at male genital piercings, and therefore when I tried to find videos about this style of jewellery I couldn't actually find any because most people wear it in the genitals and it wouldn't be suitable content to put on YouTube. So because I am doing this for my septum, I thought now would be the perfect opportunity to do a review for it, for those of you who'd be interested to buy this style of ring in the future. So it is a tri-ball dream ring, and it's basically like a smooth segment, apart from it should be easier to get in. Also they do have the good weird in between sizes. Sometimes it's quite hard finding jewellery for a 7mm thickness ring, let alone getting small diameters for it. So the ring that I've bought is 7mm thickness, which is the same as this. However, it's a 10mm diameter, which is slightly smaller than the ring that I'm wearing at the moment. So this is the package that it came in. I did buy it from bodyjewelleryshop.com and it did cost £25. There are other websites you can buy it from, but £25 seems to be the set price for the 7x10mm ring. As you go slightly thicker and large diameter, I think it did get a little bit more expensive, but I don't think £25 is too much at all, considering the type of ring that it is, the fact that you can get it in the weird in-between sizes and still at nice small diameters. I think it should hopefully, fingers crossed, be worth it. Obviously I don't know what the quality is like yet, but from the pictures that I've seen online of it, it does look really nice, so hopefully it will meet my expectations. I'm not going to ramble on much more about this. I just want to get straight into opening it and trying it out. As I've never had one of these rings before, I'm really excited to try it out. I'm pretty much just going to be giving a blow-by-blow account of what I think about the ring as I'm opening it and trying it on. Okay, just going to try and hide my address. So it comes attached to this. I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of that. So it looks interesting, and it actually is a really nice small diameter. You can see that it is slightly smaller diameter than the one that I've got in the moment, so hopefully it'll fit quite nice and snug. With this ring, if it had been a 12mm diameter, it would go below my lip line, so I decided on getting the 10mm instead. Okay, we'll just get rid of that. Really nice and shiny, that's the first thing I notice about it. There's two little screws on one side and a nice smooth bit on the other side. You'll also be able to see that there is a little line dividing down the middle part. So basically how the ring works, or how I believe that it works, is if this is the ring, you then undo a screw and it should go like that. So it kind of turns like that. At least that's how I think that it works. So in order to actually get into the ring, you do need a screwdriver. I'm not entirely sure what size screw that is. I do have some screw end bits here, courtesy of my mother. So I'm just going to spend a while making sure I can get the correct size to open the ring. So I think this is the right size screw. I have no idea what type of tip this is. I'm sure it will tell me. It says, so this is like a Stanley thing. It says that the screw bit is CR-VPH1. No idea what that means, but hopefully this will open it. I don't know if the end is a bit too big. I don't want to scratch the ring either. Oh no, I think it's opening it. Ah, yes. There we go. Perfect. That wasn't too bad at all. Oh, and yeah, that opens really nicely. So now I'm going to try and put this ring in. I've just undone the one screw, so it kind of opens up like an S shape, and then it should just go in, and then I'll just screw it shut. So I'll just take out what I've got at the moment. There we go. Oh, it always feels weird when I take the ring out because I can feel air go straight through my nose, which is a really odd sensation. So I'll just put that back down there. I think there's a little bit of oil as well from the screw, so it looks like it's got a bit messy, but hopefully it should go in nicely. So I don't know the best way. Oh, see, you can see straight through my septum. I do apologise about the nose hair. Ah, perfect. There we go. Awesome. I think this just needs tightening up a little bit. Okay, so that's how it should work. Now I just need to spin it around the right way to get it onto those bits. Oh. Okay, I don't know how easy / difficult this is going to be, so I'm probably going to struggle a little bit. Okay, this is going to take a little bit. Oh! I knew that would happen. I just dropped the screw. I'll be a second trying to find it. I think it's probably best to do this over somewhere that is a little bit more protected, because I've got loads of wires on the floor, so this is going to take me quite a while to be able to find it, so I'll try and be as quick as possible. Okay, so after about 15 minutes, I do not joke when I say literally 15 minutes, I managed to find the screw on the floor. The background's probably in a different place because I had to use my phone for the flashlight. It turned out it actually just creeped underneath my chair. So that's good. What I'm going to do is actually focus on this camera that I've got here, so that you guys can see it nice and close up, and hopefully then if I do drop it, at least it will go on my nice white flat desk. Much easier to find that way. Oh, and I dropped it again. But this time, at least it was just on my desk. I think what I'll do, actually, it's probably going to make more sense to flip it this way. Because at least then I'll just be screwing it top to bottom and it's less likely to fall out. Should have thought that to start with. Well, we live and we learn. Okay. Just going to hold that bit. Oops. This is where this bit becomes really fiddly. It's a bit surreal having a screwdriver this close to my septum. I might just use this little end. Ah, there we go. That's much more safe. So this is what the septum ring looks like. To be honest, before actually starting, I thought that this was going to be a little bit easier than it was, and I thought 100%, no doubt in my mind, that I would absolutely love the ring. To be honest, I think it's probably just because I'm not used to it being a complete ring, but I'm not sure if I prefer this or this in it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you prefer the full ring or the partial ring of the BCR? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm glad I did get a 10mm diameter though, because a 12 would definitely come a lot lower than this one does at the moment. So this is a 10mm diameter. As you saw, it was actually really fiddly to screw the little bits back in place, and as you saw, I did drop the screw a few times, and the screws are really small. So just make sure if you buy this ring, you're doing it over an area where you don't have lots of mess around. My floors are covered in wires, and so it makes it a lot harder. Also, my floors are a nice grey shade, which kind of matches this jewellery, and therefore it took a lot longer to find when I dropped it. But definitely doing it over the flat desk that I've got in front of me was better, because then when I dropped it, at least I could find it. Also, I would say as well, if you're putting it in an area where you can't see as well, like this, I wouldn't suggest using this massive screwdriver with the little end in. I would just suggest taking the end out, and it's much easier, much more controlled than screwing the little bits in. I'm sure when you're putting it into genital piercings, which it is suggested for, it's probably a little bit easier, especially since it's recommended for male genital piercings. You can probably pull your bits out a little bit more easily and see what you're doing when you're screwing it in. But because this is in my septum, I definitely think it was a little bit harder for me to be able to put the screws back in. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure about this. I'd probably give it maybe an 8 out of 10. I thought I'd be giving it like a 10 out of 10. I really thought this was the best possible ring for it. I think I just need to get used to it, to be honest. I'm just looking at myself a lot because I'm still trying to get used to it in there. It is comfortable. There's not that much difference between this ring and the other ring. It does feel maybe a little bit heavier, but that's because I'm wearing it complete. Whereas if I was wearing the ball in this, I'm sure it'd be just as heavy. I think I'm just going to have to wear it for a little bit to get fully used to it. So yeah, we'll see if I'm wearing this in future videos. I'm not sure at this point. I quite like it. I quite like having the full ring, but I'm just not sure if I would prefer it compared to this one. I've now been wearing this ring for the last week solidly. I wanted to wear it for a week so that I could get used to it, and now I can give it a bit of a fairer review. I think I know it a little bit more in depth than I did from just opening it. I still think it's nice to get my initial reaction to it because I think that's important, but now that I'm used to the ring, I think my opinion's changed slightly. So with the appearance, I actually really like the appearance. Every now and again I still think it looks like a silver polo mint in the middle of my face, but I really like it. I like the fact that even though this is thick jewellery, I could get a small diameter for it, so I like the completeness as well to it. With my other jewellery, because I couldn't put the ball back in place, I did have a gap where it would or should have been complete with the ball, so I really like the fact that this is complete. I'd say the only thing is with the appearance is that because this is a tribal ring, and this particular tribal ring has 2 screws, so it has one here and it has one at the top as well, you can see the little divot. So no matter how you do it in a septum piercing, you're still going to be able to notice this bit. Even when it's up, you can still see there's a little bit cut out here and here. Also as well, you can see one of the little lines, which I don't mind too much. I've noticed that actually this is the best way to wear it. With me wearing it in my septum, and because they do have the little indents and grooves, when I apply makeup, so I wear mineral foundation and powder to mattify the mineral foundation, I notice that it gets very easily stuck in the centre line of this ring, and then also in these little grooves. So I would just say for anyone planning to wear this as a facial piercing, just make sure that you still give it a regular clean, so take it out every now and again, just because you will get a build-up of facial products potentially in this part and in these parts, and I just think it could get and harvest bacteria very easily. So just give that a thorough clean every now and again, and I think then it should be fine. And is it comfortable? Yes, actually it is really comfortable. So the ring, I think, is about 16 or 18 grams, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're wearing it in a piercing, especially your septum, it can feel quite heavy to some people. Now, even when I wore my other jewellery, to be honest, most of the time I didn't even notice it, and it's the same with this. I don't really notice it. The only thing that I notice about it is because it is complete, it does touch my lip a little bit, but that's the only reason why I notice it. I don't notice that it's heavy. It doesn't really feel heavy. The only time when it has felt a little bit heavy is when it's been quite cold outside, and my piercing hole has been quite tight around the jewellery, and therefore I've then noticed and I've been really aware of the jewellery in there, and it has felt a little bit heavy, but I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable. Also, I have spun this ring completely around my nose, so even with these little kind of lines here, and even with these divots, even when you're spinning that around, it's not uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt the piercing at all. They've done it and finished it really nicely, so even though you do have these little hole parts. It's actually really smooth and you wouldn't really notice it going through the piercing. You can tell the difference when this part is sitting in the piercing. It feels a little bit different, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable or hurt it in any way. So I would give this ring a good 9, 9.5 out of 10, and the reason for that is because I think it still offers people a really good alternative for people who like thicker jewellery or have a larger gauge piercing and still want a small diameter. I think this is a perfect solution to a smooth segment ring. It's a lot easier to put in than a smooth segment ring, but it can still be a little bit tricky. That's why I probably just knock off half a point or a point for that, because it can still be fiddly. I think it would be a lot easier if I were wearing this in a genital piercing. I don't have any genital piercings, but if I was wearing it in a genital piercing, I think then it'd be easier to see what you're doing and be able to screw it in a little bit more easily. But because this is on my face, it's a lot harder to be able to see what I'm doing, as it is quite close. Even when looking in a mirror, it's still close and it's a little bit fiddly to see. But other than that, I think, you know, it still offers a really good alternative. There are other diameters that this ring comes in, so even if you don't want a small diameter like 10mm, this one does come in 10, 12, 15, 19 and 22mm diameter, and that is from Body Jewelry Shop. I think a lot of the other tribal dream rings come in a similar size, but it will depend on the site that you buy it from. And that brings us to the end of the video. I just want to thank everyone who has been watching. If you did like this video and found it helpful or useful, then please leave it a thumbs up. I'd also be really interested to know if this video has helped you decide whether to or whether not to buy a tribal dream ring for one of your piercings, and it'd be quite interesting to know which piercing you're wanting to buy it for. So let me know in the comments below, and then I'll see you guys next week.